Tonight, my exclusive with Conan O'Brien, a rare interview with a late-night legend.
There's nothing more comical than the sight of me without my clothes on.
His comedy, his life, his loves. Now Conan tells all.
Is any of this going to get in the papers, do you think? This won't get out.
Conan O'Brien, as you've never seen him before.
We often go to the spa together.
Not now, yeah?
All right.
Come on.
It was your idea.
Conan O'Brien, and he doesn't hold back.
That's the dumbest thing anyone's ever said to me, Piers. And I mean that in the nicest way.
And tonight, the question I just had to ask. How many times has he been properly in love?
I'm just giving you the answers that are going to make it all okay for me now. Don't screw with this, okay?
This is Piers Morgan Tonight. Conan O'Brien is very tall, he's very talented, he's very Irish. He's also perhaps the funniest man with red hair on the entire planet. He's also an ordained minister and author of what's been voted the fourth funniest Simpsons episode of all time, all while hosting his own late-night show on TBS. You are a man of many talents, aren't you?
Yes, I am. Thank you so much for acknowledging that. You didn't even scratch the surface. I have a high falsetto, beautiful. I sing like an angel. I'm hairless, completely hairless, my body.
Yes.
There's many things. I'm aerodynamic. There's nothing I can't do.
What is the genuinely weirdest thing about you that nobody knows?
Wow, that's a good one. The weirdest thing about me that nobody knows, I can be amusing at times. It seems to have escaped people's notice.
You don't do many interviews.
I don't do a lot.
I've been trying to lure you for 18 months. I've had to appear on your show endlessly in a desperate attempt to lure you in.
I don't do a lot because, think about it, I'm on television constantly. Since 1993, I'm on TV for a chunk of time every day. I'm not looking for more ways to be on television. And no one in America seems to want me to be on more. So I'm trying to, if anything, pull it back. But I couldn't resist this. You have this beautiful lucite desk. It's very nice. It's like a classy airport lounge. It's beautiful. But I'm thrilled to be here.
I'm thrilled you're here. I'm a huge fan, as you know. Now, take me back to the first moment you made somebody laugh. Do you remember it?
Yes. It was about 4 years ago. I remember it very well. It was my wife. We'd been married at that point for 7 years. Let's see. I think, I don't remember the exact moment. My mother claims that as an infant, I had mashed up some food in my high chair and was throwing it around and laughing, and it was making my mother laugh, and that her brother, my uncle, said, don't laugh, it's going to make him think he's a comedian or something, and that it caught on there. But, I think it always starts with the family. It starts with the family. I'm from a large Irish Catholic family, and the benchmark for me is trying to make my dad laugh or trying to make my brothers laugh at the table when we were having meals together.
Where do you come in the pecking order of the kids?
We're not sure. We're always finding new ones. I'll walk into the bathroom and I'm Liam. Oh, we don't think we met. There are 6 of us. I'm third from the top, fourth from the bottom. So I have 2 older brothers, 2 younger sisters, and a younger brother.
And what do they make of being related so closely to the Coco phenomenon?
I think it's... my brother Luke looks a lot like me. Luke and I look very similar, and we're only about a year apart, and he lives in Boston, and he said many times he'll just be walking. He told me once he was walking to a store to buy, some embarrassing product that he probably doesn't want me to mention on the air. He has a rash on his ass that's chronic. Luke, I'm sorry. And Piers, I think you asked me specifically what was his ailment. But anyway, he said he's walking and that people sometimes follow him and will follow him into a store, and he'll have to turn and say, No, I'm not him. I'm the smarter. He's the smart one in the family. Luke's a genius.
Your family, you're a very close family. Mm-hmm. You're still close. I mean, you speak to...
We're still close. I talk to someone in my family at least every day. And what's great about my family is they don't care that I'm on television. They don't care. We all make fun of each other, and they're very happy. I don't know, in your country, I think it's take the piss out of someone.
Yes.
They love to do that. They love to do that.
Which is not a very common thing in American psyche, to take the piss, as we call it in England, is it? Sarcasm isn't a massively advanced part of the American humor.
It is in different parts. It depends on where you're from. In Boston, it's a very strong thing. In Boston, they love to take you down a peg the second you show up back in town. It's something about that place. And it's what I love about Boston. This is a true story. I showed up in Boston once a couple of months ago, and I landed at Logan Airport. And I get out, and there's a cab line, because I'm going to take a cab to my parents' house. So I'm headed towards the cab line. And long before I even get a chance to get to the back of the cab line, this guy sees me coming. And he's the guy that runs the cab line. He goes like, "Hey, back of the line, TV star." And I said, "I was headed to the back." "Yeah, you like the rest of us now, pal." You know, that's where I was headed. But they don't even give you the chance. They need to take you down a notch right away.
When you were young, you apparently in the third grade...
When I was younger.
Younger, my apologies. You apparently even in third...
I'm 26.
Even in third grade, you were doing Charlie Chaplin impressions.
Yeah.
And you said to your parents as a kid, "Mum and Dad, I'm going to be in show business. I need to learn to tap dance."
Yeah, true story.
I love that line.
Yeah, I had this very... television in those days, very different from TV now, but in the 1970s, there's only a couple of channels, and the UHF stations, Channel 38 and Channel 56, all their programming is showing old movies. That's what I watched. I grew up on old movies. My parents wouldn't let me go see.
And was it Gene Kelly, Fred Astaire? Was it that kind of?
Yeah, I was watching old gangster movies. Love those. Angels with Dirty Faces and Humphrey Bogart films. But yeah, with that movie, That's Entertainment, came out, and it's showing you what entertainment is. I thought, like an idiot, in the 1970s thought that was what entertainers needed to have to know. You have to be like Donald O'Connor or Gene Kelly. You got to know how to sing, dance, move. You got to know how to do it all. So I marched up to my parents and I said, "I need to know how to tap dance." And they thought all kinds of things. But they said, "Okay, let's call him on his bluff." And they found me this really old African-American gentleman who was named Stanley Brown, who had been the protege of Bill Bojangles Robinson, and he lived in this worked out of this dilapidated studio and taught all these people how to dance. I was the only white kid there. Not only that, I was tiny and I had bright orange hair. So all these beautiful black women are learning jazz tap and all this kind of stuff, and then I would march in with my box of shiny shoes, like, "Hi, everybody, let's get started. Come on, let's do it, see?" You know, and then he would work with me. And so my parents, God bless them, they were great that way. My dad's a microbiologist and a scientist. My mom was a lawyer, and they said, "This is what he wants to do." And
have they ever regretted helping you get into show business?
No. I think I'm sure they have since.
I mean, for your mum in particular, I know that my mother, when it's going great, it's obviously fantastic. When things don't go so well and you're so high profile and you get hammered, mothers hate that.
Yes.
They feel it very personally.
Mothers don't like it, but my parents, the second I was paying my own rent, they didn't care what I did anymore. That's just true. The minute, I think if I had when I paid that first rent check of my own right after I got out of college and I moved out and I started paying my own rent, I think if I had said, "By the way, you should know I'm a hired assassin," we don't care. Kill who you need to kill.
When you wanted to get into show business, was part of the allure of it being famous, if you're honest, when you look back to that time?
I have to say and this is true of a lot of comedians, and I've talked to other comedians and heard them say the same thing, and I defy anyone to deny this. For most of us, it's getting girls to notice us. It really is, and it's still probably on some level. Very happily married, 2 kids, but there is something initially, especially in those early days, you go through the checklist in your mind of what do I have that might interest a girl. And I didn't have much. I would go through the list. I'm not a good athlete. My skin's not... go down the list. The hair's a little silly. The name is weird. And then I got to... They laugh. When I start joking around, they laugh and they hang around a little bit. So probably that's the initial... if I'm going to be brutally honest, it was just to get...
Just to get girls.
Just to get... Not even to... And I don't even to get them. To get them to look in my direction. Piers. I'm taking it down to a much more basic level. You know.
You moved to LA after Harvard. I'm going to come to your Harvard commencement speech in 2000 because it's one of the classic commencement speeches.
Now, you said it was that was the fourth greatest. Have they ranked the commencement speeches? I'm very competitive.
I think you've got to be number one on the commencement speech. You're fourth on the list of Simpsons episodes.
That I can accept.
Yeah.
That speech.
This is top drawer.
All right.
When you went through Harvard, everything must have seemed like it was all going swimmingly. Unlike most comedians I've interviewed, you've got no agony, no torment, no pain, no abuse. Your father wasn't stubbing cigarettes in your face.
That's the dumbest thing anyone's ever said to me, Piers, and I mean that in the nicest way. Yes, tons of agony. It's very hard to look at someone's life in the abstract.
Where was your agony?
Insecurity, a feeling that I don't deserve to be where I am. For example, I think when I worked very hard in high school. That's the dirty little secret about me, as I was not. I was always a very hardworking student and wanted to go to a good school and worked really hard to go to a good school. And then when I got there, immediately had the fear that a lot of people have, which is, I don't belong here. These other people know a lot more than I do. They're smarter. I'm the fake. I'm the phony. And I think that is the common denominator you see with a lot of people, whether they're artists or performers. They don't think that they belong.
You still feel it?
Yes. I feel it today. I wasn't sure they'd let me in here. There's a constant.
Is it the pressure to be funny? I mean, that must be a very particular and often quite acute pressure.
It's funny. It's odd or ironic, or whatever you want to call it. But my desire, getting into comedy, was a very beautiful accident because I worked very hard at everything and I tried really hard. Comedy was something that I stumbled into when I was in college. I had wanted to be a performer, and then thought, this is never going to happen. I'm from Brookline, Massachusetts. My parents, we don't know anybody in show business. I'm not going to be in show business. This is a ridiculous dream. So I kind of gave up on it and became a really good student, and then accidentally stumbled into the College Humor magazine, and it was like falling off a log and discovering what it is that I was meant to do. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And I thought, I had never valued being funny that much. I just thought, oh, that's something I do with my friends. And then suddenly I saw that it has some cachet in the real world and that these older students really seem to like the stuff that I'm writing. And they seem to think I'm funny and they want to put me in charge of this place. So a lot of that changed my outlook on what I could do for a living.
So you're at Harvard, you're doing brilliantly, you're making people laugh, everything's going great. Let's take a short break, because after the break, it all goes horribly wrong.
Sex change. Sex change when we return.
I didn't want to mention it first.
I was a girl. Well, I was a boy. Now I'm a girl.